Ryan Martin and Loudoun United return home to Segra Field for the second ever game in the new soccer-specific stadium to take on Mike Anhauser and the Charleston Battery, at the very least trying to replicate the entertainment that they were able to produce in that game against the Charlotte Independents. Tonight's pregame brought to you by Segra. Tyler Terrence along with the ex-German pro, Devin Kerr. So glad to have you with us for what should be an excellent game. And Devin, when you think back at the first ever game at Segra Field, one word comes to mind: electric. 3-3, 6-goal split right down the middle. Not the result they hoped for, but there were a plethora of firsts.
I'll give you a number word. Number one. That's exactly what we're going to go after here. The first goal in Loudoun United history, that comes in the third-year pro, Harry Hawkins. But the number one really reverberated around this entire contest. Gordon Wild picks up his first assist off this beautiful curler by Antonio Bustamante. That's becoming quite regular for him, no big deal. Carlos Alvarez, the veteran they've brought over to restart his career and help leave some of these youngsters. He gets his first goal since joining Loudoun United. And oh, by the way, first assist for Christian Sorto. The key word here is momentum as this team looks to make a playoff push down the stretch.
And this expansion side looking to do just that, Devin, but they're running into a Charleston Battery team that has not been kind to expansion sides since they've been in existence.
11, 2, and 8 since the start of 2017 versus expansion teams. 37 goals for, 18 goals against, plus 19 goal differential. Basically, they steal the show whenever they come to town. Scary to think that they've got a couple more coming down the stretch. 4 left versus expansion teams. Their only 2 losses, by the way. 2-1 on the road at Atlanta United. 2-0 at Tampa Bay Rowdies. They are fallible.
Two sides duking it out for a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. Charleston inside the playoff cutoff line. Loudoun with 3 points are right in the thick of it. Charleston and Loudoun United when we come back. Callan Radisoff leading out both Charleston and Loudoun United for what should be an outstanding 90 minutes here in Leesburg, Virginia at Segra Field. Tonight's broadcast brought to you by none other than Segra. Let's take a look at the Eastern Conference standings, which are brought to you by National Conference National Conference Center. Devin, let's take a look at what's going on right now. Charleston inside the playoff cutoff line. Loudoun United not featured here, but are right in the thick of it if they are to win tonight.
20 points sitting in 14th, and they can jump up there. And for me, the top 8 are set. It's all about what the 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Basically, there's 5, 6 right in there that are vying for those final 2 playoff spots. To get it done for the Charleston Battery, who are above that playoff line, Mike Anhauser said we'd see a few changes. How about 8, including Atula Guerra back from suspension after the double yellow versus the Tampa Bay Rowdies. He'll play up top. Phil Brino, that's an interesting one. First league appearance this year. He played in all 3 Open Cup games for the Charleston Battery during their run. and they're sticking with this 4-4-1-1, trying to stack the top. He rotates out into the 3 into 4. He says they feel more comfortable in the 4 going forward. Ryan Martin, Loudoun United, what do they look like? Chris Seitz coming from DC United, he's on loan. A guy who has basically won every single thing there is to win, but he's never played in a USL Championship game for this squad, so why not? Let's go out and show the youngsters how to get it done. Robbie Dambrot signed him at the end of June, bring him over. Connor Presley, still really impressed with his progression at outside back, moving from the midfield, especially when you have Gordon Wild in front of you, helping to get this thing going forward.
Well, when you take a look at this Loudoun United sign and what they've been able to do from a roster standpoint over the last few weeks, they are making no mistake about it. They are going for one of these playoff spots that are still left in the Eastern Conference that are up for grabs. Of course, Charleston still fighting for those because numbers about 1 through 6 or so are starting to separate themselves from the pack. 7, 8, 9, 10. All, of course, the play-in spots are all up for grabs at the moment. Callan Radisoff ready to go. We hope you are as well. Atula Guerra to get us started from midfield. And we are officially underway for the second time ever from Segra Field. Loudoun United looking for their first ever 3 points here at Segra. Charleston Battery trying to get back to their winning ways. Tyler Terrence along with the ex-German pro Devin Kerr. Glad to have you with us. Loudoun United in their all reds, Charleston Battery in their white, black, and whites. And Mike Anhauser, Devin talking to him earlier this week, just happy to sort of get back to a sense of normalcy in terms of actually playing the games that they've had scheduled, because we were joking about it with him, but it wasn't much of a joke to him because he does truly believe, as this is a poor giveaway right at the back for Loudoun United. Atula Guerra looking for an avenue, lays it off, but Loudoun United are able to bottle it up before it can get too dangerous. And the home side looking to go quickly the other way. Antonio Bustamante, who had that terrific curler against the Charlotte Independents, also registered a similar effort against the back-to-back champions in Louisville City FC. That was the final game at Audi for Loudoun United. That came away with a 3-0 decision against the Louisville side that looked all out of sorts. But since that game, they've been able to rattle off a couple of good outings themselves against the Charlotte Independents as well as Atlanta United 2. And as Dante Marini will get things restarted, there is a look at Ryan Martin, who is announced as the head coach about midway through the season after the departure of Richie Williams, who headed over to the New England Revolution to pair up with Bruce Arena. And what a turn New England has made in the MLS standings as of late. They were towards the bottom of the barrel at the beginning of the year, but since have slowly but surely gotten their way back up. And Ryan Martin has done a great job with this Loudoun United bunch as well. They're first up for the header. Connor Presley bringing it down. Slip in the middle of the field. Loudoun trying to take advantage of it. Here's Griffin Yao, the youngster, around the first defender, but gets sealed off quickly by the likes of Kyle Nelson. And already an up and back feeling to this game in the opening 2.5 minutes or so, Dev.
I'm not surprised. We always see that the 5 or 10 will be back and forth, trying to find a way to exhibit your own will on a match. Ryan Martin and Mike Anhauser always saying that they want to be on the front foot for these things, but the way it plays out, Anhauser admitted, he said, you know, we're not exactly sure who there's going to be sending. You get Chris Seitz, guys like Donovan Pines, though young, homegrown DC United player. Multiple in the starting lineup on loan, and others like Gordon Wild picked up mid-season after Atlanta United felt like the usage wasn't going to come that way. How do you attack for that?
Ball quickly across. Atula Guerra got a touch to it, but it was just out of his reach to the point where he could not get a solid finish on it. And they're glad to have him back in the lineup after he served his suspension.
Exactly how you attack. Doesn't matter if you have 8 rotating in the starting 11. Just a quick ball down into the channel. Lovely back across. And there's the big frame by Atula Guerra up front, the focal point. That's really what they've been lacking all season long. An odd sequence of events where just struggling to handle some paperwork. Things were situated on this end, but waiting for the visa to come through back in his native Trinidad and Tobago, and finally gets it, comes back, not in full match fitness, picks up the double yellow, goes out in suspension, and as a player, that really frustrates your confidence. Just struggling to get back over there, and then once they do, it's just tugging at the reins to get going. Hasn't necessarily been able to do so.
5-0 decision against the Tampa Bay Rowdies as the wheels came off in the very beginning. Lucky and Kosana scoring 2 goals in the first 5 minutes. As Charleston threatening again, long-range effort. And Chris Seitz can see that wide. Mario Piggott with the effort. 23-year-old from Panama City. Hit it on the screws, didn't have much rotation, but just couldn't get it on frame. Loudoun do well to keep it in play. So Charleston team in 3 of their last 4 games have had a player sent off. It was Leland Archer against St. Louis FC, Guerra against Tampa Bay Rowdies. They were well behaved against Hartford, and it was Ta Nunga sent off in a 1-1 draw against New York Rebels too. So some disciplinary issues for Mike Anhauser's group as Dante Marini sends this one over the bar. Take a look at our Ortho Virginia injury report. Pivo Due out for Loudoun United. Kieran Mason not available for Charleston Batteries. He's suffering a long-term injury, but a few more players who are also unavailable for Charleston as well. Not so much the injury flavor though, Dev.
Unfortunately, Zico Lewis is gone, and with some personal issues, Mike Anhauser was kind enough to share that with us, and just positive thoughts out to his family. Obviously, mid-season, especially when you're making a playoff push, coming off his beautiful run in Gold Cup and back in league action, you'd like to get right back to it, but people forget these are real people and have strenuous lives just like everybody else that you have to account for. Doesn't matter if they sit behind a desk or not.
First up for the header. Taylor Mueller bringing it down, and then Shake will go back for Phil Brino.
You agree with the Archer red card last game out? Mike Anhauser had some
I
interesting
told
things to
you
say
that
about
that
it.
was one of the few red cards this season where I could not come to a definitive decision. However, if you are going to go by the letter of the law and how referees have been treating those sorts of situations, then it is a red card. Hand to the face, you simply can't do that if it's intentional, the play's not going on, and that's exactly what Mike Anhauser said to us.
To be fair to Lewis Hilton, it's not like he throws himself onto the ground. There's obviously contact there. But like you said, there's always a gray area with those things. It's right in front of the referee. It's right in front of the linesman.
Dante Marini sends it across, and a good save from Chris Seitz.
And regardless of if there's any embellishment or not, which in this case by Lewis Hilton there is not, you nailed it right on the head. Don't put yourself in that situation. Whether they're looking or not, hands to the face is always going to get you in trouble. Sometimes we've seen it occur after matches where they've gone back and take a look at the incident. This happened to be right in front of the referees. And it's one of those things that Mike Anhauser was talking to us about, where they finally got everybody back from injury. 3 out of the last 4 red cards. You're trying to find some sort of positive rotation in your lineup and really kick the chemistry in when you've got 10+ games to go on the final stretch of this playoff race, and it's hard to do that when it's a revolving door of personnel.
There's a look at the members of the Charleston Battery who are not available due to something other than injury. Zico Lewis, we talked about his personal issues. Archer suspended. Candela suspended. And given all of that and all of the games that they've had postponed, you think about the U.S. Open Cup game against Atlanta United that was supposed to be at MUSC Health and ended up getting played at Kennesaw Fifth Third Bank behind closed doors. You think about the bus accident that they got into on the way to Children's Mercy Park against Swope Park Rangers, and they're still sitting inside the playoff cutoff line. It's unbelievable.
I did give Mike Anhauser this compliment, and obviously he kindly agreed to it. That's another conversation, but it's probably one of the few teams that's handball right in front of the 18. 2, to be honest, as you saw Taylor Mueller stepping on the second one. Anhauser doesn't agree here, but probably one of the few squads around this league that can rotate so many pieces and still be relevant. And though he's not happy right now, he will be happy overall, as it is his 50th birthday. Happy birthday to that man who has done so much for this game in the United States.
Hung him out to dry there with the 50th birthday, though. We could have just said happy birthday.
Charleston Battery posted on social media, so I blame them.
Everybody said blame.
I'm going after Poppy Miller on
There
this one. Poppy, if you're listening, I blame you. I thank you, but I blame
you. Filberino desperately trying to organize the wall. Very dangerous opportunity here for Loudoun United. It'll be Gordon Wild, and it had plenty of dip and bend on it, but it didn't get down in time. There's one handball, and there's another.
Pretty easy to figure out. This left footer, he puts that on frame, it's got a chance. Still waiting for that resurgence by Gordon Wild. Guy who has had a massive collegiate career coming out of Maryland, and he's going to go after him. Spent most of his time with ATL UTD2. It was quite interesting the way that his entire transaction played out. He had actually been on the bench for 6 of the last 7 games for Frank DeBoer's squad. Couldn't break into the lineup, and definitely not into the starting 11. But a guy who you kind of felt like things were coming along, just used in a totally different manner though. Different systems, especially with Frank DeBoer going to the 3-back that he wanted to play in. Gordon Wild much more accustomed to this 4, and since he's come to DC, more specifically time with Loudoun, much better from him, rotating him out on the wings and playing him in the 10. It's been a good look. Nice little triangle movement between he, Kyle Murphy, and Carlos Alvarez. Just surprised that Kyle Murphy hasn't taken full advantage of it, to be honest. A lot of playmaking ability. Here's Bustamante once again. That's got to be part of the scouting report coming in, by the way. Do not let this guy hit it. Beautiful goals that he scored over the past few weeks.
Bustamante, who scored his first professional goal against Louisville City FC. We mentioned that curl that actually dinked off the post. And Audi Field in their final game, the home of DC United, as they move into their permanent home here at Segra. Griffin Yao trying to touch it around Kyle Nelson. That's a tall task for Griffin Yao. Just 16 years of age, going up against the likes of Kyle Nelson. 6 years his elder at 22. Also has a few pounds and a few inches on him as well. Here's Yao taking the inside. Gets it along for John Murphy, the Scotch Plains, New Jersey native. Trying to thread the needle. Connor Presley now. Going to find Gordon Wild, but broken up by Jared Van Schaik. Now it's Dante Marini going the other way. Pennsylvania native trying to thread it through for Atula Guerra. Good defensive play from Donovan Pines, the 21-year-old from Clarksville, Maryland. United, unfortunately, were not able to build off of that 3-0 win against the back-to-back champs Louisville City. They fell to Atlanta United 2 on the road in Kennesaw by a score of 4-2. Griffin Yao bumped off the ball, but Kellen Radisov not interested in it. Looked like a clean challenge from Ta'anunga. Great first touch coming out of pressure from A.J. Patterson. Here's Higashi. Pushes it out wide. Romario Piggott now, the Panamanian, looking for an avenue, and a good sliding challenge from Colin Verfurth. And now Loudoun United looking to take space the other way. But that one's cut out by Jared Van Schaik. A lot of room to play for both sides, but both center backs reading the plays extremely well. And Schaik with a poor giveaway as Bustamante was trying to go negative. Higashi a touch to it to settle it for Romario Piggott. Kelly back for Piggott. And a curl one in, out to defend. Here's Robbie Dambrot. Kyle Nelson. Higashi checking back to it. Finding Dante Marini, a little bit of space, threads it through. Great ball. Atula Guerra denied by Connor Presley. One more try from Guerra, but it's offside. Oh, it looked like great football from Charleston, and it was, but the offside flag is up, and it'll nullify the chance.
Atula Guerra just trying to slide in just behind. Lovely little ball on the backside. And you can see Guerra about a step and a half in front of the trailing run. Connor Presley had come all the way over. It's going to be better communication. The two center backs in Colin Verfurth and Donovan Pine struggling with the movement of the lone striker right now. Atula Guerra doing a good job just dropping into that negative space. He and Dante Marina just kind of wandering side to side right now and not exactly sure on the back line for Loudoun where the responsibilities lie.
Yao on the turn, almost made Nelson fall. Bustamante forcing Presley to take the scenic route. Able to keep it in play, though. Good hustle from the Texas native. Gordon Wild can't get past A.J. Patterson. John Murphy lets it run through. Long ball the other way for Atula Guerra. It's picture perfect. Guerra using that big frame of his to hold up play. Sends it a little bit behind Romario Piggott. Guerra had one of the goals in a 3-2 win over Hartford Athletic, a game in which they led 1-0. Zico Lewis had the opening goal. Hartford scored 2 at the outset of the second half. Then Charleston scored 2 in a matter of about 5 minutes to win the match 3-2. Hospital ball coming in from Gary. Anunga. Presley in for Wild, but difficult to handle. And a half minutes gone here at Segra Field. 0-0 between Charleston and Loudoun United. Tyler Terrence along with Devin Kerr. Big 3 points up for grabs between these two sides that are jousting for a playoff position. Charleston already in one, looking to firm up their spot or push even further, but Colin Verfurth called for the push on Atula Guerra. And now a set piece from about 30 yards out, coming from Mike Anhauser's bunch.
This is smart by Atula Guerra. Recognizes that there is a bit of pressure coming over this right shoulder, leans into it and going for the flick on. Pretty sure that his body's going to take the brunt of it. Trying to find Dante Marini, who, again, that relationship has been impressive so far. Nothing to show for it just yet. But they are working really well off of each other. This distance here, you can see Van Schaik, who has been wondrous from set-piece opportunities over the course of this season so far. Had a beautiful strike early on, and the way he's setting up, I just feel like a little bit of air underneath it. Let someone run underneath.
It will be delivery, not his best. Cleared away by John Murphy. Here's Guerra again. He looks a lot more mobile than the first time that we saw him this season against Hartford as Marini tries to thread it through.
You got to realize for him, game fitness coming in. I believe that was his second appearance on the year. First start. That's right. Second appearance on the year, and just trying to get back to a full 90. And where they've really struggled is on the outside, to be honest. Got to find a way to get Kyle Nelson, A.J. Patterson more involved. That's where the departure of Neville Hashaw has really struggled with them. Doesn't matter if they're in a 3 or a 4. You're seeing less and less of those overlapping runs. Mike Anhauser telling us that, you know, he understands that sometimes these guys got to stay home. But he was referencing specifically the left side and the way things played out in their last game out, where you had Jay Bolt playing at left back. He's still coming back from his knee injury. And Jared Van Schaik, who of course is deployed at center back tonight, playing at left mid. He said, look, Van Schaik's a bulldog. He goes, he gets the work done, and that's great. Not necessarily when you're playing outside mid, though. You got to find a way to have an ebb and flow. And so when he's doing the dirty work, maybe you rotate him into the left back position. Find someone who can get forward a little bit more. And Van Schaik has that versatility. When you tuck him inside and A.J. Patterson is there, it's just really difficult to go from a team that uses so much movement going forward, whether a 3 or a 4, to almost null and void. You rely on that 4 or 5 in the midfield and up top so much more.
Good corner coming in, a touch from Connor Presley. Nelson trying to rise for the header. He ended up staying grounded. And last touch, it looks like, coming off of Loudoun United. Another corner coming up for Charleston.
Can't let this drop if you're Loudoun. All the way back across the 6, takes 2 bounces. Atula Guerra wanted to pull a bike there for a second. A little flick on some of the big bodies. A.J. Patterson, we just referenced. Kyle Nelson. Again, like to see it from the run of play, but they'll take it anywhere they can get it. Multiple games in hand for this squad. As we mentioned, all the injuries and recent injuries with player personnel, red cards, what have you. But still sitting just inside the cutoff line.
Headed in by Angelo Kelly. Bit of a wasted set piece opportunity for Charleston, as looked like something that they practiced, but didn't come off that way. Usually when it's played to the top of the 18 like that, it's usually a ball that's going to be taken on the first time. Here's a look at the outstanding Loudoun United supporters. This place was rocking in that 3-3 affair against the Charlotte Independents. 3 different comebacks.
Exceeded capacity. Over the 5,000
5,001.
Pretty impressive. If it was something like 5,008 or something. But well done.
Nice touch off Presley, and another corner coming for Charleston. Whipped in, and it's in. The Charleston Battery have the opener. It's Taylor Mueller, a darting run at the near post. And the masked wonder silences the crowd here at Segra. Charleston 1, Loudoun 0.
Fortunate for them, they were able to figure out their set piece woes immediately. Last 2 balls played in, not impressive whatsoever. This one, obviously, tale of a different tape. Great ball whipped into the near post. Look at the check around. Very well done. John Murphy just stagnant. He's got to learn to throw a body in front of the streaking center back of Taylor Mueller. Mueller just gets out in front of the space, has a quick little flick to the back post. Just like that, Battery on the front foot.
Not the hero they deserve, but the hero they need. Taylor Mueller with a lovely headed goal. And the Charleston Battery looking good on the road. A little bit past the 20-minute mark. One thing you can say that's always been prevalent about Mike Anhauser's side is that they've always been dangerous on set pieces. Whether it be Neville Hackshaw, Skylar Thomas, Taylor Mueller, I mean, they just always seem to have options, and the delivery is usually on point.
And in the air.
Yeah.
The aerial threat from them is ridiculous.
Donovan Pines almost gives it away. Now he does give it away. Marini. Higashi touching along for Atula Guerra. Good sliding challenge from Verfurth. He's had to cover a lot so far for Pines. Now Murphy slips.
Notice they keep going after him. Donovan Pines struggling. Opening part of this match, everything is directed into the feet of Atula Guerra, or at least spatially. And there's a gray area between he and Connor Presley on the back stick. They keep going after their number 10, and why not?
Pines actually had an appearance against the Colorado Rapids with DC United back on April 13th, assisted on a Lucha Acosta goal in a 3-2 win. Won a national championship with Maryland in 2018. What number national championship was that for Maryland, Dev?
4th.
There you go.
You got it right this time.
I asked you that a while ago. That must have been, what, back in April?
Give him a little bit more credit back then. Yeah, that was lucky number 6. My mistake. Sasha's sitting at home going, that's right, boys.
Yeah.
Do the dirty work for me. Pad the stats.
And Marini's offside. Thoughts on the middle of the field so far for Ryan Martin's group, Dev?
Quiet, chasing. Ta Nunga and Angelo Kelly quite busy for the Charleston Battery, and their shape they're trying to get right now. There's a good look at Antonio Bustamante coming nice and deep, kind of allowing him to do whatever he wants from the playmaking standpoint, but Jimmy Garay dropping all the way back, playing almost as a lone 6. And they've really almost gone into a 4-3-3, have they inverted John Murphy up top to allow him to get forward a little bit more. But the focal point here has to be overcrowding things, not allowing those balls coming up into Dante Marino and Tula Guerra. They've been able to do that. And then conversely, find a way to get the outlet passes into Bustamante. Then you get balls down into the channel. Griffin Yao hasn't had a lot of movement, and that's just the inability to connect the dots. That all goes back to the Charleston battery doing a good job in their intermittent press where they send one or two and then back off.
Great move from Gordon Wild. Now he'll let it fly. That had USL Championship Goal of the Week written all over it had he connected. Great Maradona to get away from pressure, but couldn't quite find the frame.
These are the glimpses you've been seeing from Gordon Wild, where he'll fade in and out. He'll give you 3, 4, 5 good minutes of some really impressive stuff like this. Quick little touch, release it. Hard when it's coming across the right side of your body and you're trying to use the left foot. Then he fades off a little bit. And it's those spells that are kind of struggling to break into Ben Olsen's squad with DC United, hence why he's still with Loudoun. And that'll come with time. To be fair, you have to remember that this guy has not had a lot of regular playing time this year.
Finds good distribution to find John Murphy this time. His brother James actually played for Las Vegas Lights FC last year on loan from LAFC. John had a couple appearances with New York Rebels too, came up through the academy. AJ Patterson, a little bit of space. Murphy trying to track him down.
Ryan Martin recognizing what's going on in the middle field, as you and I were just discussing. What they've done is they've actually officially dropped Bustamante all the way deep next to Guerre. Gordon Wild will now become the number 10 in the middle of the field. And we saw it in games past where he'll let them float a little bit, but obviously John Murphy just struggling with the pace a little bit in the middle of the field. They moved him out on the right-hand side, isolated a bit. Still an opportunity to play with the boys, but also the one-on-one situations will probably suit them much better, especially when, talked about it before, Connor Presley has been playing at such a high rate.
Here's Wild again. Bustamante finding Griffin Yao. He's been quiet over the past 10 minutes or so. All over the top for Kyle Murphy, a bit too direct. And a goal kick coming for Phil Brino.
It's an area where Loudoun United have to get much better at. It's when the field is condensed. You're in a 40, 45-yard span. What do you do with it? Charleston Battery are too good on the defensive side of things. You drop back in, they'll put 10 behind the ball and literally just leave Atula Guerra standing at center circle. So when that outlet pass comes, they can explode on the offensive side of things. Brings out, you basically have to dare them a bit to come after it. Either that or when they throw that intermittent press we talked about, got to break it immediately and run numbers downhill at them. Use the space to your advantage.
Anunga pushes now wide. Patterson avoids the first challenge from Murphy. Now he lashes it across. Pines clears it away, but only as far as Anunga. Challenge from behind. Loudoun will stay with it. Connor Presley giving chase. Working on Van Schaik. Good little matchup here. Presley cutting it around. Van Schaik able to stay with it. Presley wanted the advantage call, but Callan Radisov bringing it back. Devin, your thoughts on that?
Let's be fair at the tail end of this. Everybody stops. So it looks like he's 4 yards out in front.
He didn't break in.
No, definitely not. Although some arguing on the backside of things here. Radisov going after some of the verbal atrocities being thrown at him. Yep, that'll be AJ Patterson going into the book for his displeasure of the call by the referee. And Kyle Murphy letting him know, nah, maybe you got it wrong. Instead, maybe it was Van Schaik. This is the one-on-one battle we talked about. So Van Schaik comes all the way back over. There's no way he's getting a card for this one. Well done by Presley to cut it back inside. He's out in front there, whistle blows. Everybody had already stopped. You see AJ Patterson had come back inside. So to the point on Connor Presley, he wasn't getting that much further.
It didn't look like AJ Patterson said anything. He walked away from the referee.
That's why Kyle Murphy was pointing at Van Schaik. He felt like the shout came from him.
Fun fact, though, this is one of the 4 ways that you can use VAR, is card identification. It's not just goals and offsides and whatnot, but if we did live in such an era where USL Championship did have VAR, they'd be able to go review this.
But we don't, so we can't.
No. So let's play on.
Appreciate the fact, though.
Just little nuggets here and there.
Now the PA announcer's telling us that Kyle Nelson got it.
Ball whipped in. It's a dangerous one. Mueller heads it away. Murphy putting his head in a very dangerous place, but no reason for the referee to blow his whistle. Dante Marini sending it the other way. Great first touch from Romario Piggott, but he's offside. John Murphy put his teammate Jeremy Guerre in a really tough spot with that ball coming back.
He has been, with all due respect, a liability in this opening 30 minutes. Struggling to find form. They've moved him around on the field. And still the Charleston Battery keep going after him. Obviously they recognize good matchups when they see it.
Devin, as you just pointed out, Griffin Yao, it looks like coming inside now. Ryan Martin looks like he's out of carrots, he's out of sticks, and just trying to find some sort of combination in the middle of the field that can relieve a little bit of pressure and allow Loudoun to put the ball down on the deck and play with a bit more purpose than you're seeing right now than just in their own defensive third, because even though they've had the ball for the last 30 seconds or so, they've yet to really make anything of it.
It's a good look at Robbie Dambrock playing really high, and sometimes as a manager you're just trying to find any sort of momentum. You know, 15 minutes to go before the halftime whistle. You'll do anything you can. I promise you this, if it continues in this manner, he'll make a change at halftime. He has to.
So now our head referee gets it right. Jared Van Schaik, rightfully so, issued the yellow card, because he was the only one seemingly involved in this play. Is this a yellow, though?
I don't see a yellow there. An idea if he starts barking orders at the referee at the tail end of this. He brings him over. Let's have a conversation. And they're trying for player identification right there. If he's giving him a yellow based upon the initial foul, I don't see it.
Well, when he talks to the assistant referee, I think is actually when he loses track of who deserves the card. And Kyle Murphy coming over and pointing at the correct player is pure gold.
Van Schaik's got to know better. Look, if he walks by you, keep walking.
Yeah.
I'm out of there, buddy. I'm calling my hydration break early. You kidding me? You card the wrong person, not my fault.
That's what makes you a world-class teammate.
Oh, I've had this happen. I pointed at someone else.
On your own team.
When I played, he did it. That's 100% his fault. If someone's getting thrown out of this game, it is not going to be me.
And you can just see from the body language of Ryan Martin, he is not happy with his group at the moment, especially considering all the strides that they've been taking. And that's going to be the difference in whether or not they're going to make the postseason, because, yeah, if you get a win against Louisville City, it doesn't count for anything if you then draw Charlotte at home and lose to Atlanta United 2 on the road.
There has to be some sort of balance if you want to be realistically in the topic of conversation for the playoff, which I promise you, 3 games from now, to your point, if this continues, they won't be.
No.
That gap that you talked about will continue to distance itself. But you're 33 minutes into a match. Griffin Yao hasn't been on the ball enough. Kyle Murphy basically has no distribution into him. You've taken one of your more impressive attacking players in Antonio Bustamante, dropped him into a holding midfielder position. To be fair, he's great in that spot. But now you've also moved John Murphy to the outside. We've seen him there before. You got to find some sort of movement here, instead of consistently trying to put more pieces into the puzzle. mean, the good news is he has the luxury of it for the next 10 minutes or so. Fortunately for them, they're only down 1-0, and lucky at that.
We'll resume play after the hydration break. 1-0 to Charleston, thanks to the headed goal by Taylor Mueller off a corner. Great little flick to the back post as he was making his run at the near. Danbra totally stumbling over the ball. For Firth now giving it away. Guerra touches it along, almost got it for Angelo Kelly. Now he brings it down. Boys, one challenge from Bustamante, a second. Now will take it himself. Guerra puts a foot on it. Kelly pushes it out wide. Patterson looking for Guerra. He might have been offside though. Regardless, Loudoun United get a touch to it. This is not the Loudoun we're used to seeing. 35 minutes into the first half. And it does not get any easier for Ryan Martin's group. Home against Ottawa, who's been sensational this year. On the road against Pittsburgh. Home against Birmingham. And home against North Carolina FC. Their next 4 matches. All teams who are very relevant within the playoff picture at the moment. Griffin Yao. Seeing some daylight. Gordon Wild. Had Connor Presley open on this right wing, but gets fouled by Ta'anunga. Angelo Kelly played the ball off of Gordon Wild while he was prone, and the crowd was urging Colin Radisoff to issue a card, but no such luck.
Just didn't have the ability to utilize this right flank. John Murphy had gone very high, and they had to wait for that run to develop from Connor Presley. You saw right around the 15-minute mark what Gordon Wild was able to do. He was a bit closer in proximity to the goal last time out. This one's pushing about 30 yards easy. Just wonder, based upon the distance, if Griffin Yao's lining up, he'll go.
So Gordon Wild took it. The whistle come after he hit it or before?
It was an odd sequence of events. A lot of times the referee will step up to you and say, "On my whistle." Usually that goes another direction.
Gary finding Murphy. Gets bumped off the ball by Dante Marini. Charleston contingency here in Leesburg, not particularly happy with the call. Hines looking to go direct, hoping for Kyle Murphy. One by Taylor Mueller. Gordon Wild putting pressure on, but Jared Van Schaik thumps it the other way. And at the very least now, Loudoun United starting to spread the field and make Charleston move a little bit. Charleston with a goal lead on the road. Very comfortable right now. Allowing Loudoun United to knock it around their own defensive third as now they start to creep into Charleston territory. Donovan Pines out wide for Connor Presley. And last touch coming off of Presley. Lunga did well. Now it's Kyle Nelson with all sorts of space over on the right wing. Mario Piggott. Gets it right back from Higashi. Battery moving it very crisply at the moment. Higashi trying to give it a little back heel for Atulagera. Won by Donovan Pines in the end, and Chris Sykes will ask his center backs to split and open up a little bit. Now Murphy, a really heavy touch. Do you make a change at halftime if you're Ryan Martin?
Yes.
If so, how many?
I'm just going with one right now. I'm bringing John Murphy off, and I'm going to plug in either Carlos Alvarez or Andrew Loudoun, both of which give you the opportunity to have an outside wing player, but also play on the interior. I don't mind the rotation of the front 3-4 guys. I mean, you're going to leave Kyle Murphy, that's fine. But if you have Griffin Yao, Gordon Wild, Bustamante, and then one of the guys I just mentioned, you can rotate them in all of those positions when you're looking for 3 or 4 spots to try and change things up. You would like some sort of chemistry to keep things stagnant and to build off of that. But those are looks that you also get the veteran leadership out of those two guys as well, in Alvarez and Loudoun. You can go after someone like an Orlando Sinclair, but with as much youth as you have on the pitch right now, I'd like someone with a bit more age behind him to help these guys going forward.
The header back, and Bruno stumbled a little bit.
As we mentioned, this is his first league appearance, and an idea of Van Schaik. Not exactly sure why Bruno's coming that far off his line to begin with. Van Schaik so used to having the mainstay in between the pipes of Joe Kuzminski. Just knock it back. Obviously, the relationship a bit more solidified in that area. Well done by Bruno to recover.
The heel of the referee. Angelo Kelly now letting it loose, and it wasn't too far off.
We've seen what Bustamante can do. Not doing yourselves any favors if you can't play out of the back, and why not come from Angelo Kelly? He had that wondrous run on the 30-minute mark. Gonna need oxygen after that. Of course, the hydration break helped him out.
I had to slip it in there. Kyle Murphy the other way. Cleared away, but straight to Gordon Wild. Wanted to hit it originally. Was he fouled? Our referee says no. Donovan Pines again. Murphy trying to get it through for Presley, but it just runs out of play. Devin, yay or nay?
A little touchback across. No, absolutely not. Gordon Wild trying to make more friends than enemies here. Just climbing up over the back of Taylor Mueller. Referee having nothing of it. Very well done. United, a team that was suspect on throw-ins right in front of their head coach, has shown us in the past that they can come back. Even though giving up the first goal, did it against Charlotte Independence most recently in that 3-3. Charlotte go out in front. They get the point out of it. They also beat them early on this season. We had the 3-3 draw against the Bethlehem Steel. It was probably one of the more interesting results and definitely the most impressive on their resume. Going down 1-0 early on at New York Red Bull 2, coming back to win 3-1. That was Orlando Sinclair, Andrew Loudoun involved, Kyle Murphy tucked one in at the tail end of things. This team does not put their heads down and wither way into the night. Definitely some restructuring to be done at halftime under their head coach, Ryan Martin. The other thing that's getting in trouble. You got to pick up the rate of play. Just watch all the white shirts. They're too good defensively. Flat line of 4, the back line as well. Quality rotation. Qatar Higashi coming all the way over to the far side, just compressing everything in the middle. And as a player, as frustrating as it is as a midfielder not be able to get the ball, you have to utilize the other areas to your strengths. Quick little touches in. When the rate of play is faster, they've been able to break down the battery. The problem is they're not going quick enough.
3 minutes of stoppage time here in the first half.
3 minutes after the half.
And if you're Mike Anhauser, you can't be thoroughly pleased, because as poor as Loudoun United have played, Charleston really hasn't made them pay. Obviously, from a goal standpoint, only having the one, but they haven't created all that many chances either.
The main issue that you're seeing out of their attack going forward, keep an eye on Loudoun. He's in no man's land right now. And that comes from not having a lot of games underneath his belt, but just his movements in general. As you can see him constantly looking over his shoulder, not in a good way. He's not looking for space. He's trying to figure out where the rest of his teammates are.
Angelo Kelly. Too many touches, and here comes the home side on the other end. Colin Verfurth, the center back, leading the charge. Connor Presley out wide now. Murphy in support. Working on Ta'anunga. Trying to get it through for Presley. Not a bad idea. And a throw-in coming up for Loudoun United deep in Charleston territory.
There's another one where he just drifts out, gets the ball at his feet, and is kind of deciding, okay, now what do I do? That's not the Loudoun of 2018 that we saw pump the back of the net so many times. His decision-making just off a little bit here, and you're starting to see some frustration out of the guys going forward. Dante Marini throwing his hands up at the tail end of it.
Not a bad ball. Here's Gordon Wild. And he got the header all wrong, but a good ball in from Robbie Dambrot, the Akron native and the Akron University product.
It's not a bad idea. Much quicker. High line by Robbie Dambrot. Gordon Wild takes this off that right shoulder of his. AJ Patterson having a conversation. Felt like his mark was John Murphy, and he was expecting help on the backside with Ta'anunga just trailing into your screen at the end of it. That's the positive rotation I talked about, though. Gordon Wild's not going to sit in the middle of the field the entire time, and it's well done by him to recognize he can just float all the way to the backside and allow this to develop. Just can you do it on a regular basis? They've been severely lacking.
Presley looking to whip one in. Easy enough for Jared Van Schaik. Presley. Murphy trying to get a touch. And last touch coming off of Presley. And that'll do it for the first half. An underwhelming performance from the home side. Charleston got their goal, sat back, and watched the youngsters try to break them down. Connor Presley was in the middle of what few chances Loudoun United were able to create. But at the moment, it's Mike Anhauser's group with a 1-0 lead thanks to Taylor Mueller's goal midway through the first 45 minutes. Devin Currier, thoughts?
Well, we talked about it mostly, that the midfield has to be better from Loudoun United. For Charleston Battery, you've gotten out in front. Now you got to find a way to stay out in front. Mike Anhauser's boys above the playoff line. They are just 3 behind virtually right now. Ottawa Fury, of course, Ottawa and Loudoun doing battle this weekend.
Well, we'll head to halftime. 1-0 to Charleston. Stay with us. Halftime here at Segra Field in Leesburg, Virginia, and halftime brought to you by the National Conference Center. Tyler Terrence along with the ex-German pro Devin Kerr, and Segra Field, Devin, a modern-day soccer-specific stadium, and for a team like Loudoun United, it's just what they need, and to them it's home.
Instead of 5,000-seat stadium, multiple suites, you've got DC United Academy offices, opportunity to continue to develop youth in the area, and with an area like nation's capital and in or around it, there's so much talent. I can remember growing up taking on all the youngsters and all the teams from Maryland, DC, Virginia. Such fun. What a beautiful look that is. And they weren't able to get 3 points out of it, but it was still impressive nonetheless. Done a good job showing the character of the youngsters coming back against the Charlotte Independents. We talked about all the firsts and the partnership that they created with Segra. Gorgeous.
Another reminder of what went down in the first ever game at Segra Field. 3-3 draw against Mike Jeffrey's Charlotte Independents. 5,015 was the official attendance for the inaugural opener. $15 million to open up Segra Field on August 9th. 5,000 seats. Leesburg, Virginia is your location. And the cost split between DC United and Loudoun County. And Segra will be the name, Devin, for when you turn 65.
It's ridiculous.
Devin's going to go have a cry. We'll be back in a moment.
Fortune can hit from here. Oh!
McCarthy once more. Blasted back in, and it's a goal for North Carolina FC. Big shot and scored.
And Ben Spees lets one fly and drills it.
Coming and off and in. What a move!
Shot blocked, follow up, and that one blocked, ball still loose.
Manley will try to create here. Gets it in. Here's Rowe. Up ahead. Continuing cuts back. Strike coming. And just beyond the reach of Mangles, it's in. Towards the box. Cuts around Ovalle. Goes down the strike. Philly on the save at the near post. Through the traffic. Knocks it on. Soto there. Back. The shot. And in. Goes right. Soto. Off the bench. And putting Chattanooga up 2-1.
A little trickery now, maybe. McCabe goes for goal, and it's an excellent free kick. A long run-up produces a long-range effort from Niall McCabe. Not the first time that he cuts through from Dalgard. Dalgard still with it. He tees it up. Great effort, and a terrific opening goal for Hartford Athletic, coming by the way of Sebastian Dalgard.
Opportunities for the opponent. Ball comes in, headed away only to the top of the box. The Langsdorff volley off the chest, and Portland has the lead in the 3rd minute.
Still Zach Sandy to drive, and what a save by Matt Pickens.
Awesome stuff from the championship as well as USL League One Week 24 officially underway. We got one other game going on tonight, New York Rebels 2 and Pittsburgh Riverhounds, possibly a playoff preview, if you will. And let's take a look at some news and notes from around our wonderful league. Phoenix Rising and New York Rebels 2, both sitting atop the Eastern and Western Conference respectively. Phoenix Rising looking to make it 14 in a row against Reno on another dollar beer night. North Carolina FC are going to say goodbye to the man, the myth, the legend, Austin Deleuze.
Captain America.
Oh,
I'm really sad.
me too.
I texted him and I go, this is not happening. He laughed and I said, what's next, man? He said, you know what? Not really sure yet. Really excited for what the future holds. How about Orange County, by the way? Francis Jacobs, 14 years old. Already getting paid. Good for him.
Great for him. Let's take a look at the Golden Boot race. Solomon Asante, 16. Daniel Rios, 15. Kevon Frater is slowed up after his emphatic start, and Sebastian Guenzati will hover. He probably won't end up towards the top of that list. I imagine this is going to be the front three, but Sebastian will probably prove me wrong this weekend. Here's a look at the standings at the moment. Charleston Battery with 3 points can really do themselves some good and try to catch the likes of Ottawa and Louisville City FC. We mentioned Loudoun currently sitting on 23 points, would certainly put them in a much better position than they are right now. Devin, I always ask you this question. Is this the 10 that's getting in? Or is St. Louis creep in here?
No and no. I do not think St. Louis gets in.
You went back on your opinion from the other day.
No, not at all. Not at all. I said between those two, I would pick St. Louis. I still don't think either St. Louis or Charleston Battery are getting in.
Okay.
Hot take.
Hot take. Thank you. Appreciate it. Here's a look at what's going on this weekend. Charlotte's going to play host to Nashville. North Carolina FC will welcome Pittsburgh. Indy 11 in St. Louis. That'll be an interesting one. That's actually a rematch of the first game of the season for those two. And Loudoun United will welcome Ottawa Fury and Nikola Popovic to Segra Field. A lot of home games for Loudoun United after starting most of the season on the road. They're currently losing to the visitors 1-0 at the moment. We'll be back in a moment with the start of the second half. Almost through with the National Conference Center halftime report. Tyler Terrence along with the ex-German pro Devin Kerr. Charleston with a 1-0 lead over Loudoun United. We'll take a look at how the first 45 minutes went down, Devin, here at Segra Field. And the second game ever here at the new stadium opened up a little more than a week ago. Hasn't gone exactly according to plan. This is a Loudoun United group that really has not looked their sharpest.
It's not a bad look for the Charleston Battery going forward, especially when the system for Loudoun tries to get guys like Robbie Dambrot and Connor Presley involved on a regular basis. Obviously, they weren't able to do so. Intermittent spots for the boys in red going the other way. Gordon Wild had a couple opportunities from distance. Second one was quite odd the way it played out with the referee blowing the whistle at the same time that he strikes the ball. This would obviously be the beautiful little ball in from the backside. Really liked what I saw out of Dante Marini and Tula Guerra. Unfortunately, that relationship opening 20 minutes, beautiful, started to fade. You saw stuff where Higashi started to wander side to side. Pickett was tucking himself in, and they just couldn't find as much impressive movement on the offensive side of things going forward. towards the stretch of the latter portion of the first half. But of course, the beautiful ball whipped in by Piggott. This would be back-to-back balls that were not very impressive. You get Taylor Moore to pick it across. 21st minute, they get up by 1-0. Could the home squad then respond? And this is where the issues started to happen. The individual brains by Gordon Wild was great, but it was few and far between. You had to rotate John Murphy out of the holding midfielder position. They ended up pushing him to the right midfielder side of things. Antonio Bustamante, who's one of the more dynamic players for Loudoun United. He dropped very deep to play basically a pivot 6 role, and they just couldn't get anything going forward. I promise you, Ryan Martin's going to change something up here in the second half to find a way to get his boys, who are so technically talented on the ball, a bit more possession, especially going forward.
Well, the numbers certainly are interesting, with Loudoun United holding a lion's share of the possession. We mentioned how when Charleston got their goal, they just sort of sat back and said to the youngsters, go ahead, you can have it back there.
You're not going to win like that. And you're not going to win like that against a Mike Anhauser bunch that at this point in time, as we're talking, is better on the defensive side than they are going forward. Obviously, Atula Guerra is going to get better as the season goes on. Not that there's that much left, but with his repetitions, he will become more clinical in the final third. You guys like Jared Van Schaik and Taylor Mueller sitting on the back line. That's a really hard team to break down.
Well, Kotaro Higashi has been in the middle of a lot of Charleston moves. Very technical Japan native who has done some good things for Mike Anhauser, and Taylor Mueller with the lone goal thus far and scoring his first goal of the season on that beautiful header towards the back post. And it looks like we're ready to go. We have not heard that there have been any changes at halftime for Ryan Martin, Devin. I assume you're a bit surprised.
A bit surprised. The one thing I will say is that he also has to take into account load management. You have the game on the weekend, game tonight. They also have a game on Saturday. 3 games in the span of 8 days. You can't immediately throw guys like Carlos Alvarez into the mix, especially when he's only been here about a month. However, there has to be more energy coming through.
And it was Carlos Alvarez coming in and replacing John Murphy, so that was exactly, may not be the right word, but in the neighborhood of what Devin had predicted.
With all due respect to John Murphy, he was out of his element. And it was evident from the first blow of the whistle that he was falling behind a bunch of these guys. And we said it either had to be Carlos Alvarez or maybe we'd say Andrew Loudoun. But both of those gave you an opportunity to still be versatile in your movements going forward, and that's exactly what's gone on here. Carlos Alvarez can come inside. Looks like for now, Gordon Wild will still give himself some freedom to rotate back and forth.
Dambrot. Griffin Yao now will make the overlapping run, creates a bit of space for his outside back. Guerra to the far side for Connor Presley. He bends one in, looking for Alvarez, trying to knot it down. Nelson trying to get rid of it. It looked like last touch came off of Griffin Yao, and it did, but already much better from Loudoun United going forward.
Eerily similar to the goal that they scored last week against the Charlotte Independents. Just a ball outside. Yes, the distribution came from Sorto that time around, but Carlos Alvarez on that near post run once again. This is exactly what we talked about. The pieces that were at play for Ryan Martin had to find a way to get the boys going forward, and not only that, be more effective. Guys like Connor Presley, Griffin Yao, Gordon Wild, Kyle Murphy, so much talent, just not able to go after it in the opening 45 minutes.
Foul on Donovan Pines.
See if this works out this time. Last time we said we'll go on the whistle. Gordon Wild had other ideas. This time around, Jared Van Schaik, as we mentioned, like to hit him from distance. That's not going to occur in this situation. Keep an eye on the back post, though. Kyle Nelson, Taylor Mueller have all come up from the back line.
They'll go short. Guerra goes back for Van Schaik. Gets a fortuitous bounce. Now will send it in. Diving header. Not fully cleared away, and now Loudoun United able to get out of pressure. Great little nutmeg over on the far side. Great job from Gordon Wild. The ball that hung up in the air would seem like forever. Dambrot. Alvarez showing teeth already, having just come on at halftime. Griffin Yao into the area, and it was almost an own goal. Taylor Mueller, who gave Charleston the lead, almost took it right back. It just skirts wide of the near post, and a corner kick coming up for Loudoun.
All this, there's the rotation by Carlos Alvarez, leading these boys, hopefully to victory. Still looking for their equalizer. A lot more energy coming onto the left side from Griffin Yao, and the rate of play much faster. Ball cycled in and out of tight little spaces.
Gordon Wild on the corner, drives it towards the back post, headed down by Pines, and straight at Phil Brino.
Exactly what you need. Long ball to the back post. One of the big center backs go get it. That's exactly what the Battery were trying to do just on the opposite end a moment ago. Taylor Miller and Kyle Nelson. This time you go after Donovan Pines, who didn't exactly have the best first half that he could have. He's one of the ones stuck in the gray area with an opportunity, a few repetitions for DC United this year, training with them on a regular basis, but also getting some reps with Loudoun. Sometimes when you find yourself at different levels, it's hard to break through in either squad.
Loudoun trying to pick up the pace a little bit. One of the points that you made in the first half, Devin, in terms of rate of play. Garrett. Alvarez got caught with it, taken away by Romario Piggott. Now it's Dante Marini. Marini threading it through for Kelly. Nice little fake, gets to the byline, chipping it across, looking for Atula Guerra, who was alone, but the cross was cut off by Chris Seitz. Kyle Nelson stepping up and reading the play. Marini just bulldogging his way through. Still Dante Marini, still trying to get there. And it runs over the byline. Last touch coming off of Loudoun United again. Somehow, Dante Marini found his way through not one, two, but three Loudoun United defenders.
Sometimes an attacker, this just gets away from you. It's so frustrating. You've got so many things going on in your mind, and you just can't complete it off. Burfirth gets really lucky here. He goes to ground. Dante Marini could have easily put himself on the deck and had the referee blow the whistle, point to the spot.
Marini sends one in. Charleston were looking for the bicycle kick attempt, and then A.J. Patterson's attempt himself. Never really had any true steam behind it.
It's the second time Atula Guerra in a group of 3 or 4 players feels like he's going to go vertical and pull off the spectacular. Interesting matchup here for Aubrey Dambrot at left back as Romario Piggott starts to play higher. He's one of the boys that Loudoun United signed coming out of Pittsburgh. Started his career at Akron. Spent the final 2 years as a Panther. His dad, actually, Keith, believe it or not, Tyler, this is your neck of the woods, head basketball coach at Duquesne, was actually LeBron James's coach at St. Vincent St. Mary's.
Shut the front door.
Look at that.
Wow. Here's Tanunga on the other end. Gets Burfirth to go to ground. Back post. Guerra was looking for it again. Trying to touch it along. Good play from Donovan Pines. Marini thought about going to Kelly. Marina staying with it. Trying to go to 4 different Loudoun United players. And finally, A touch from Carlos Alvarez as Gordon Wild is looking for a safety valve but can't find one. Forced to continue to drag the ball negative, almost giving away a corner there. Now gives the ball away to Kelly. Wild back with it, gets shoved to ground, and that's a senseless foul.
Speaking of experience, Chris Seitz on that back line, he's got to ask for this ball coming from Gordon Wild. Got an opportunity to play this ball over, does not. Another bicycle kick we talked about. Just long ball back across. Tulaguera fancying himself again. Nunga just has to be a better look going forward. There's the decision making we're talking about up top, and Tulaguera, or lack thereof, to be honest. Plenty of space. It's an easy ball where he doesn't need to leave his feet. Just a quick little step over, set himself up appropriately on the first touch, and then release.
Good idea from Dambrot, who's starting to become more and more involved in this game. He was really quiet in the first half, but to his credit, the ball didn't really find his neck of the woods. Ball slipped through. Guerra looked like he was offside, and he is. Yao, positive first touch from Kyle Murphy. He goes for goal on a really tight angle. That would have had to have been one of the goals of the season if he was able to connect. But Loudoun slowly but surely starting to find the rhythm.
Ryan Martin sending his boys down into the corner to start and get warm in case he wants to make another change. And I don't mind this look from Kyle Murphy, to be honest. You can see everybody starting to put it together going forward. Gordon Wild getting involved in the act. Carlos Alvarez made an immediate impact. Even Griffin Yao. This time Yao, little distribution into Murphy, just trying to feed that confidence of their number 9 up top.
Going over the top, Romario Piggott trying to get there. He's offside though.
How many times have we seen that in the entirety of this game so far? Guys don't have their heads over their shoulders when the ball's getting knocked in, and wasted opportunities. Fortunately enough for them, the defensive unit has been quite impressive. And the midfield has just been run over by Loudoun United. Lots of movement for Charleston Battery. Dante Marini has been very active. He's on the ball right now, just drifting very deep. And notice the amount of space, though. Tulaguera not drifting over whatsoever, allowing him to continue to be the focal point up top. They haven't exactly had a lot of success in it. I don't see Anhauser pulling the trigger there, though. They got to find a way to continue to feed that ego of his. The number 9 has to be positive going forward, and as we mentioned, just coming back from suspension, lacking a bit of form.
Nunga in for Guerra. It's offside again. Starting to sense a theme here with a tulip. Donovan Pines is coming off. Alexis Cerritos coming on. And Donovan Pines, who had a bit of a shaky first half, was much better at the start of the second, but Ryan Martin elected to make his second substitution of the evening.
If he wants to stay within striking distance, he had to do something here. Alexis Cerritos, one of the impressive youngsters coming out of that DC United Academy, actually spent 1 year with Pachuca before coming back. Youngster made multiple appearances for the El Salvador men's national team. First one was back in 2017, and now a chance just coming back to break into this lineup. It's his debut.
Alvarez lets it go. He's on his off left foot. Not a bad idea. Fan who made a ridiculous snag up top. Charleston group that is the only team in the modern era of the USL to make the postseason every single year. Certainly flirting with danger in their current playoff position. In years past, they've earned themselves home matches, however, usually picked off by New York Red Bulls too. Looking Yao putting pressure on Nelson again.
We talked about lacking the presence within their outside backs. Also, striker up top, still massive amount of talent in Loudoun. But when you look at their body of work this year compared to years past, this is the lowest point total they've had through this amount of games. You have to track all the way back to 2014, where they were sitting at 24 points. Every other year, they've had at least 35 points. To your point, lost back-to-back years, 2018, 2017, Red Bull 2. Years prior to that, 2016, 2015, were second-round exits to Louisville City. And of course, they would go on to lose to New York Red Bull 2.
Might find his way back to Yao. A heavy touch to Phil Brino.
And a team that hasn't won more than one playoff game since they won the whole thing in 2012. It's different than what it used to be.
It doesn't add up almost. Given the success that they have during the regular season, to then seemingly fold like that when it becomes single elimination.
This year, you can kind of get an idea of where their heads are at, though, in terms of the quality of product. When they play a top 10 team, they're 2-4-5. So limited success, 4-1-4 versus everybody below the playoff line.
Here's Marini. Dante Marini has been electric all evening, finally gets rewarded. And Charleston Battery go up 2-0 on the road here at Segra Field.
If anybody deserves it, it's got to be this guy. Dante Marini has been so active throughout this entire game. Said that we are impressed by the relationship with Guerra at the start of the match. That's faded a bit. His performance has not. Finally, some space to run out in front for Dante Marini. Puts it on that left foot of his. The bottom corner of sight's always in jeopardy. The back line exposed, loads of space to work with. Out in front by 2.
Fourth goal of the season for Dante Marini. Gives them that much more cushion. You would have to imagine it's going to be a bit of a wake-up call for Loudoun United, who now trail 2-0, are in danger of dropping their first ever game at Segra and going their first 2 games without a win. Dan brought along for Yao. Tried to touch it through the legs of Ta'anunga. And we'll get a substitute for Atula Guerra. It's going to be the Jamaican McHugh Daly coming on. Daly, who hasn't gotten a overwhelming amount of playing time this season yet, but has impressed when he has come on, and will replace Atula Guerra here in the 63rd.
Was actually one of the guys after the Gold Cup headlines that faded that took off next to Yvonne Lambert of Phoenix Rising for the U23 Olympic qualifying for Jamaica. Trying to qualify for the 2020 Olympics in Japan.
Here is the Q Daly, right on cue. Taken away by Yao. Devin, is it fair to say that throughout large portions of tonight's match that Loudoun United has simply been outworked physically?
This is one of the times that you can truly stand up there, and I'm not a big believer in the overwhelming of physicality within matches. If you play the angle game right, if you've got proper IQ, you can get around those. Tonight hasn't been the case, and you can see it, it's evident. Guys like Ta Nunga and Angelo Kelly just bossing the midfield. Kotaro Higashi, though not massive, has really used his body to his advantage. Low center of gravity, and you've seen Griffin Yao and the struggles he's had on the left side, going up against guys like Kyle Nelson.
Presley gets the cross away. Here's Yao. Around the end line, Yao sends it across. It almost went in, and Phil Brino keeps it out. It was almost the second time that Taylor Mueller put it in the back of his own net. Somehow Charleston come away unscathed.
Taylor Mueller on the back end of this, having some words with Kyle Murphy when this thing gets coughed up in the middle. Murphy felt like Brino didn't have both of his hands on it. Well done by Griffin Yao to just work this back across things. Murphy's not that far off. He's only able to collect it just at the tail end of it. Looking for this run coming back across. If Yao can cut this back just a bit further, find the top of the six, they've got a chance.
Carlos Alvarez was just waiting for it. Kyle Murphy just happened to be behind the Charleston defender when that went down. And final substitution on the night for Ryan Martin as Orlando Sinclair comes on and replaces Kyle Murphy. So one last roll of the dice for Martin. As Sinclair a bit overzealous in trying to find Cervitos. Yao taken down from behind. United want to go quickly. How do you feel about this, Dev? If the referee is going to prohibit a team from playing quickly and going quick from the restart and not give a card,
he's just trying to slow things down. Don't necessarily agree with it, but
if you're going to blow your whistle like that and not allow the game to flow, Presley whips one in.
yeah, at some point in time, you have to make an example. You can't just continue to do what you're doing. You're prohibiting the other team from taking advantage of a situation. You're thinking.
I am thinking, because it's not so much as making an example of him. If you're going to give him a card, give him a card. If not, then just let the boys play. It's as simple as that.
Agreed, but that's why I'm saying, though, if you're going to slow it down for a reason.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just continue
You
and
slowed
keep
it down
open.
to give him a caution, that you might give him a caution the next time he does something bad?
Yeah. Multiple times I've been in agreement with you tonight. I'm happy for that.
Mark it down, August 14th. That's the same thing Ryan Martin was saying to the fourth official. Griffin Yao was waiting for a good challenge from Kyle Nelson. It does even better to find Kotaro Higashi. Here comes Charleston on the other end. 2v2, 3v2 if they hurry. Along for Nicu Daly. Here's the Jamaican. Daly going for goal, and a terrific kick save from Chris Seitz. Cervitos finding Alvarez. And here comes Loudoun United. This game becoming much more stretched in the final 22 minutes. Gordon Wild couldn't get around the defender. Here's Bustamante. Gambra coming around the bend. Griffin Yao now. It's a hopeful ball.
Immediately, you can see that Niku Daly was paying attention on the sideline. It's not the best run by him, but he still has the understanding of the high line that Loudoun United trying to play. Just waits, holding shape, and then lets the ball come right back in front of him. Uses the speed to his advantage, trying to pick out the far post. This is well done by the goalkeeper, Chris Seitz. Using that left foot of his, just push it away.
Learned his lesson from Dante Marini, who just buried one in much similar fashion.
How many opportunities did Tulagera have in the same exact look? Stepped offside every single time.
Bustamante. Orlando Sinclair now. Cervito's getting stuck in. Good challenge right at the end from Angelo Kelly. And Mario Piggott did well to put himself between the ball and the man.
Kyle Nelson just down on the ground now. As the challenge on the far side. And Mike Anhauser telling us that the outside back situation is still a work in progress. Get another look at the challenge. He and Alexis Cerritos right at the top of the 18. Just felt something on the tail end of it, went to ground. You can see they're just working on the hamstring area. Hoping it's nothing. Quick little massage for the physio and get back at it.
We do have one score update from this evening, and that's Bob Lilly and the Pittsburgh River Rhinos taking down New York Rebels 2 in New Jersey. Tom Barlow got the scoring started, then it was Joe Greenspan in the 36th, then Nico Brett with the game winner in the 84th.
Full moon, precursor of things to come.
What is going to come?
Craziness.
You think?
Calling it.
In what fashion?
Game's opening up too much for Charleston Battery.
Loudoun United 3 goals unanswered in the final 20 minutes.
I said it was going to be crazy. I didn't say anybody was going to score. No, what you're seeing, especially with Kyle Nelson going out now, an unnecessary sub for Mike Anhauser, it looks like he's going to have to make. When the Battery are going forward right now, you're getting guys like Dante Marini and Niku Daly starting to create a lot more, but there's a massive gap where Loudoun United is starting to take advantage of it.
Here's Niku Daly again. He's been lively since coming on. Great turn. Daly going for goal, loose in front. Here's Piggott. Oh, and he made an absolute mess of it. Chris Seitz keeps them in the game, at least for the moment. Romario Piggott is going to have nightmares about that chance.
All the work, everything done so dirty for Firth. How do you do? Apologize right there. That is not a good look for the center back. Beautiful technical footwork on display for Niku Daly, Romario Piggott. All you got to do is just throw yourself at this thing and it ends up in the back of the net. Do everything but what you just did and the game's over. On the backside of this, he's limping a little bit too.
Obi Woodbine coming on and replacing Kyle Nelson. They were hoping to give OB a little bit of a rest tonight, but not able to do so with the injury, and that's the kind of missed opportunity that can sort of bring a young team like this back to life, Dev.
Said it would be craziness. Just inside of 60 seconds, you miss a sitter. Watch how this continues to unfold here. I promise you, there's at least one goal for Loudoun coming.
Ball the other way, Griffin Yao, 1v1. Dinks one in. Presley beating Marini to the ball. In for Alvarez. Alvarez overtakes it. Bustamante. Finding Gordon Wild. Griffin Yao trying to go for a goal. We saw him do something very similar against Louisville City. He had an incredible goal against the back-to-back champs. Likes to cut in from that left-hand side, but couldn't find the magic.
This is how he scored his first goal against Memphis earlier this year. That quick little cut in, trying to pick out the far post. One of the better sequences we've seen out of Loudoun United. We said once the Battery condensed the field into such a small space, how do you then break them down? You have to have a lot of patience, go side to side, and then pick and choose your opportunities. Great representation where it's not working on the right, quick little movement back in, but it's the rapidity at which the ball is put down and knocked side to side. It's got to be quicker, and that's what you're starting to see over the past 5-6 minutes for Loudoun.
Long ball over the top. Obi Woodbine gets a touch to it, keeps it in play. Yao pressuring. Cervitos touches it along. Alvarez pushes it out wide, hoping that Presley will be able to get there. 15 minutes remaining now. Ball whipped in by Wild, punched away by Brino. Heavy touch from Cervitos, able to keep it though. Dambrot. Yao on the turn. And he makes a mess of it.
I said there would be chances to come. Things starting to open up. Phil Brino, you got to question some of his decisions that have started to come in here in the second half. Opportunity to bring that down. Not wanting to punch away, but would have been easy for him to just collect and kill some of this clock.
Griffin Yao. Sinclair now. Back for Yao. Gets to the byline, sends it across, and it's Orlando Sinclair who pokes it in. Finally, Loudoun United have one, 13 minutes remaining, and it's a one-goal game.
There's a conversation right now with the linesman on the far side. Immediately, Taylor Mueller did not like the fact that the referee was going to allow this. The ball in and around Phil Brino's hands. Hard to tell whether or not he had secured it. Orlando Sinclair knocks it in, and immediately they're going to go check. Yep, they've given it.
Well done from our crew, making sure that they get it right. Game on here in Leesburg.
Well done by Sinclair as well to trust Griffin Yao. Plays the ball off, and then Yao first time gets around Brian Woodbine. It's always going to be difficult to get on the tail end of this. Said Brino hadn't done himself any favors. There's another one. Put your hands behind this ball. There's where you punch it away if you feel like you can't secure it. The ball comes away from him. Sinclair, quick little nudge of the head. Nothing to do with the goalkeeper. 100% onside. Really well done by the substitute Orlando Sinclair.
There's step one of the craziness. Runs out for an acute Daly. Plenty of time for Loudoun to get back into this one and perhaps rescue a point, maybe steal all three. It has not been their best night of football by any stretch of the imagination. Alvarez, room to play with, slides it through. Orlando Sinclair, back for Yao, gets a touch, but it's straight to the hands of Phil Brino. And Loudoun United committing a lot of numbers forward. It's going to become very stretched for Charleston the other way. Here's Higashi. Marini through for Daly, he's offside.
Starting to pick up the pace. Into the goal, they smell blood in the water, and why not? Another great build up by Loudoun United. Griffin Yao trying to bring this across his body. Got to use the left foot there, buddy.
Alvarez thinking one over the top. Yao waits for it. Running right at Obi Woodbine. Yao still with it. Going for goal again. Wild trying to wiggle his way through. Looked like Obi Woodbine was down. Excuse me, that's Romario Piggott.
It's never a good look when he's down to the lower portion of his leg, and it's like going to be a non-contact injury outside of the run on play. Saw him immediately reach down, and as things moved away, go right to the ground. See Obi Woodbine just sitting in. See him as this ball gets cut in. This is the chance right there. Just oversteps a little bit. You see his knee get stuck in the turf. No contact whatsoever. Reaching out a little bit. Just gets himself caught up. Mike Hanhauser has had to make 2 moves already. One was Q Daly coming in for the Anaforma Tuligera. Kyle Nelson coming off with injury. Wish him a speedy recovery. Obi Woodbine came on. He was one of the players that was involved in the chase. And now Nico Rittmeyer will come in. Just feel like it's going to be Groundhog Day for Mike Hanhauser. Starting to get everybody back healthy. The only player that was not available because of injury was Kieran Mason, still dealing with that quad injury. Everybody else had their reasons in terms of suspensions or personal. And now Nico Rittmeyer, one of the players that he mentioned he wanted to give a rest. He's going to have to come on in the final 8 minutes. See if they can get the 3 points and secure this victory on the road.
So Rittmeyer, the 25-year-old from Savannah, Georgia, comes on. Started his collegiate career with University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, then transferred over to Charleston. Yao. Around Woodbine. Sinclair now. And last touch coming off of Charleston. Corner coming up for the home side.
This is what you want out of Griffin Yao, running at people, challenging them in one-on-one situations, and he is making an absolute mockery out of Obi Woodbine right now. Coming in as a substitute, I understand that you're not up to full game speed, but you've had plenty of time to get into it, and the youngsters starting to make mincemeat out of him.
Back for Wild. Delivery with the right foot, almost got through for Dambrot. Straight to the Q Daly, crunching tackle from Gare. Dambrot recovering, gets fouled from behind by Marini.
Talk about two players who haven't had a massive amount of repetition for Loudoun. John Murphy, not the best of performances. How good has Gary been? He's been very impressive. Recently playing with the U16 and 17s of the DC United Academy, only a second appearance for Loudoun. Also some opportunities with the U.S. Youth National Team. A couple looks for the U14s, and there's their recent acquisition, Robbie Dambrot, playing left back. Loudoun going into a three-back system now, gambling a little bit down the stretch. You have to. And they've guarded some good work out of Griffin Yao recently. Now, why not utilize Connor Presley? Find a little bit of balance, keep the battery second-guessing down this stretch.
Charleston will try to kill this game off. Kobe Woodbine will take his time getting it back into play.
It's a quick first step by Griffin Yao. That's impressive. Kobe Woodbine, definitely not slow. And you're 100% correct. Just trying to get these seconds to tick off the clock. Woodbine with a pretty long throw they choose not to deploy.
And for Sinclair. Here's Ta'anunga the other way. Rittmeyer making the run. Now Anunga has to wait. Hagashi. Rittmeyer now gets tangled up with Cervitos. Good challenge from the youngster. Q Daly. Couldn't quite handle the pass coming in. 87th minute. Martin ushering everybody up the field. It goes back for Mueller, a little bit close to Sinclair. Marino now. Charleston calm, cool, and collected under this rapid pressure from Loudoun United. Almost gave it away. Obi Woodbine will go along with it. The Q Daly offside. And the entire Charleston battery bench is up in arms over that. And Charleston has been offside more times than not tonight, but that one certainly looked the closest.
The only time that you really heard a backlash from their limited supporters that have traveled here, including the boys on the bench. A really well done job by the battery, just maintain possession, but struggling down the stretch here. Just keep a grasp on this game. There's their man, Mike Anhauser, hoping that he gets a nice little three-point birthday present.
Dambrot wants to run right at Obi Woodbine. Or giveaway from Woodbine. Alvarez back into the mixer, hoping for Sinclair, but straight up Reno. Clean from their Firth as he stuck his head into the play. Yeah, great first touch. Wants to go at Woodbine again. This time Woodbine getting the better of him. Minute. Charleston Battery trying to hang on for what would be another road win. Their second road win, their last 3 tries after taking down Hartford Athletic, but drawing St. Louis. Battle between Dante Marini and Connor Presley over on the far side. We're hearing 6 minutes of stoppage time. Here's the Q Daly, somehow finding some breathing room, but scooped up by Chris Seitz. Griffin Yao leveled from behind by Obi Woodbine. So Obi Woodbine brandished the yellow card for a rather rash challenge.
I'll leave Mark on the backside, just coming up over Griffin Yao with his momentum. Plenty of time for the home squad to go and steal another one here and salvage a point if possible. Asked for some changes at half. You get it at Carlos Alvarez. Orlando Sinclair comes in. Unfortunately for Mike Anhauser's bunch, 2 changes due to injury to Laguerra. And of course, Daly coming on. Guerra not looking his best.
Orlando Sinclair not happy with our head referee as he's accusing Phil Brino of time wasting, and I'm sure Phil Brino wouldn't argue with him. Cervitos wins the challenge, but gets called for the foul.
And it's the tail end of this that might get Cerritos in trouble. Keep an eye on the outstretched arm. No, not necessarily. That's not a bad turn. Just in front of the player, coming back all the way across. Nico Rittmeyer, loads of experience underneath his belt. Now they're just trying to play keep away for the final few moments.
Cerritos. Connor Presley, positive first touch, but a little bit too close to A.J. Patterson. Marini working on Sinclair. Marini gets bottled up. Got some support in the form of Angelo Kelly, but Loudoun United still come away as victors in that small battle.
You gotta play quick here. Loads of space in front of them. Go after it.
Bustamante skips it along for Sinclair. Presley to his right. Numbers arriving in the penalty area. Presley able to get there, lofts one in. Dambrot was waiting to hit it, and an acrobatic clearance at that from Nico Rittmeyer. Bustamante. Alvarez now, good ball in. Wild trying to bring it down, he was able to do so, and Brino makes the save. Challenge from Guerre, wins it back. Sustained pressure from Loudoun United. The crowd trying to do their part. Alvarez trying to get it in for Sinclair. Thought for a second he might put it on frame himself. Bustamante will recycle. Less than 2 minutes remaining now in the 6 minutes added on. Sinclair. Bustamante. Didn't have enough on it to get it through two different Charleston Battery defenders. Now looped in, Sinclair wins the header. Cleared away again, only as far as Bustamante. Wild pushes it out wide for Presley. Plenty of numbers in the box. Good ball in. Cerritos won the initial header. Dambrot up for it, loose in the area, poked away again. Alvarez trying a second time, clear off the run. Here's Cerritos, and Brino keeps it out. A flurry of action in front of Phil Brino. Somehow he can't be beat. And the Charleston Battery, it looks like, are going to come away from Segra with 3 points.
Everybody in on this at the tail end of it said that someone was going to have to go make an individual play when the field is this tight. On the back post, you've got the run by Robbie Dambrot. He's in there. Cerritos, this ball's going to pop out for him. How does that not end up in? And then how about Orlando Sinclair, who's right next to Phil Brino?
Incredible stuff on the goal line. Last-ditch defending at its finest from Charleston. About 20 seconds remaining now. Fairfirth has to go all the way back. Everybody forward now for Loudoun United. Header won by Obi Woodbine. Cerritos didn't go up for it. Charleston win it. And that's going to do it. The Charleston Battery hang on for a thrilling 2-1 win. Loudoun United make it interesting late, but the Charleston Battery continue to keep themselves in playoff contention. Their second road win in their last 3 tries. And Mike Anhauser's bunch back to winning ways after a draw against St. Louis in their previous match. Loudoun United will have to settle for just a point in their first 2 games here at Segra Field. Dante Marini, what proves to be the game winner, in his back pocket. And the Charleston Battery with a massive 3 points towards their playoff hopes. Devin Curry, your thoughts?
They needed it. Only the 3rd win in their last 14 matches. Good news is they remain relevant. With games in hand, mind you, Loudoun United, an opportunity lost. You cannot take this long to get out of the gates.
Well, the final score, Charleston 2, Loudoun United 1. The fans will exit. We'll be back in a few moments to put a bow on it. Full time here at Segra Field. Dante Marini, the hero for the Charleston Battery, but he didn't know it. And Loudoun United didn't know much about this game until about the 75th to 80th minute mark, because they did not look sharp by any stretch of the imagination, but the Charleston Battery do just enough to fend off a young and eager Loudoun United side that was looking to play the comeback role yet again. We'll take a look at the full-time highlights presented by Segra. Taylor Mueller opens up the scoring in the 21st minute. Beautiful header at the back post.
Young and eager for sure. The problem is that it shouldn't take 60 minutes to get ready for a match, and that's where they got themselves into trouble. The beautiful set-piece play, which, to be fair, the Battery weren't very good at to start things off at, but hey, great ball whipped in by Piggott, and of course Taylor Mueller. Quick little flick to the back post. We said how good they are in the air, and of course they get the early goal. Gordon Wild did have a few set-piece opportunity of his own. Couldn't make anything of it. This one almost ends up in the back of its own net by Taylor Mueller. And then you thought this was the dagger. 1, 2, 3 different opportunities. Can't pick this one out. They would finally get their second goal. It would come from Dante Marini, who makes that run, but it'd be in the 61st minute. And we said if anybody deserved it, it had to be him. He was the focal point of this offense going forward, gets an opportunity, and just buries it in the bottom corner.
Dante Marini was 4th goal of the season, just able to get it off in time before Connor Presley could have something to say about it, and beats Chris Seitz at the back post. And then Nique Daly. Great chance here, but denied by Chris Seitz. Learned the second time around.
He's trying to do the exact same thing that Dante Marini did. And we said that changes needed to come for Loudoun United. They bring Carlos Alvarez on at halftime. John Murphy goes to the bench. Donovan Pines comes out. You get some rotation on the back line, and actually Alexis Cerritos goes into the middle of the field. But could there be anything else from the Battery? Felt like Nique Daly had an opportunity here. Here was the sitter. That was Piggott. He would actually come off. Kyle Murphy, back-to-back games, has not looked good up top. But they would find a way through Orlando Sinclair. Well done by Griffin Yao. He was one of the guys that started really slow, finished strong. Not the best balls played back across, but sometimes if there's a will, there's a way. You just have to find a way to get that through. Orlando Sinclair does it. In the 78th minute, they get it to 2-1.
So Loudoun United then would just persistently knock on the door. Griffin Yao became very active. And then this absolute madness ensues. Not 1, 2, but 3 chances. Furblino would only end up making 1 save in this sequence, but it was absolute chaos. And somehow Charleston come away unscathed and come away with the 3 points. And the statistics are very interesting, folks. Do not think for a second that for some reason Loudoun United dominated this game, because it really wasn't that case until around the 80th minute mark.
I mean, you could take 60% of that possession and say it went horizontal. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Ryan Martin will be frustrated at the fact that he lost control of the midfield early on. They regained it in the second half, but when you're down 2 goals, a lot of teams are going to sit on you. Have to find a way to be more imposing of your style of football at the beginning of a match. Too many times we're seeing them fight their way back in. It's good to see the character, but they have too much talent to be playing from behind.
So both teams will be able to be the home side in their next matches, as Charleston will welcome Louisville City. Loudoun United will welcome Ottawa Fury and Nikola Popovic. Another disappointing outing here at Segra for Loudoun United, but they're taking steps towards what they're hoping is going to be their first win here at their new home. The Charleston Battery get it done on the road again. Dante Marini, the hero, with the goal late in the second half that proved to be the game winner to fend off Loudoun United, who made a late run for our entire crew. And Devin Kerr, Tyler Terrence saying so long for now. The final score, Charleston 2, Loudoun 1.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.